Let's step back then and examine the separation of leadership from leader. This is the rethinking of leadership relative to the DAC models. So let's think about the ways that DAC can be implemented. Well, obviously the traditional leader activity fits right in. I mean, that's normal because the traditional leader models, all of them, have to execute the direction, alignment, commitment. Let's think about other ways. Let's look at communication. We often think about communication almost secondary, or if you're in a public affairs or internal marketing, sometimes communication becomes a forefront area of focus. But within DAC, can we think then about communication as what is communicated, how it is communicated, and how we do that focusing of it? This then allows us to think about the leadership as much broader than the leader alone. It's an outcome focus. It's not the activity itself, but the outcome of the activity. We think about, in this case, communication as part of that activity to get to the outcome of direction, alignment, commitment. We also look at artifacts. This is the message reinforcement. This may be the plan itself that's communicated, the communications that's recorded and distributed as a recording for people to watch later. It may be the signage on the wall, the way that the office is decorated, the whole feel of what's going on. These are the non-human aspects that are with us all the time, but we often don't think about them within the construct of leadership, but they obviously support the outcome that we want from our leaders. So we can then think about not only the traditional leaders, but how we communicate, how we document through artifacts that leadership to reinforce it. In this case, we can look at the image to the right. We have an obvious pathway here. That pathway draws you from the bottom to the up. It just draws you that way because we see the feet outline. At the same time, there's no people there. This is an artifact that is causing us to be motivated to go in a direction without having anyone tell us specifically. This is one way we can think about leadership beyond the individual themselves. We can also think about the values and the principles we use. These then reinforce what we want to do in direction, alignment, commitment. Again, these are often thought about as separate from leadership, but within the DAC construct, we can rethink about them deeper as to how do they reinforce us getting in the direction we want, the alignment we need across the organization, and the commitment to bring people along for full engagement. And to the extent that there's some routine, how can we then standardize some of the processes, or maybe standardize a way to deal with abnormal situations? This then is a rethinking of leadership within the DAC framework. It's shifting from just the 3 activities alone to the outcomes associated with those activities. This is a rethinking of leaders within a leadership construct. Let's shift then to a practicum, your situation. Think about a situation you are facing now on a daily basis. Try to step back from the daily firefighting and look at the bigger picture. Within your situation, how can you set direction? What are you doing now to set the direction, to communicate it, to reinforce it? This is a leader role, but what can you be doing beyond just you to get the outcome that you need for the direction? Similarly, How can you gain alignment? This is alignment across the organization. What are you doing on a daily basis for alignment? And how can you then complement that with other types of activities to get that outcome that you need for alignment? Across the organization, but also with external stakeholders. Increasingly, if we use an effectuation approach, it's doing what we can with what we have now, but we can expand what we have now through our relationship with external stakeholders or partners. How can we gain alignment with them going forward? And as I mentioned earlier, the critical component of alignment between the organization's purpose and the individual employee's personal goals. This brings them and really ignites them with their passion on the job. This is a critical component if you want true commitment. The issue then is if you have direction and alignment, that leaves employee commitment. What are you doing now? What can you be doing for employee commitment? But don't limit yourself to thinking about just you. Don't think about the things that you're doing as a leader. Expand into all the activities that will get you to the outcome you need for setting direction, alignment, and commitment. This is rethinking leadership within a DAC framework, how you're getting direction, alignment, commitment as an outcome, what you do as an individual, but more importantly, all the other things that will complement your activities. DAC leadership.